I can't imagine what being a photojournalist on the front lines of the war in Afghanistan is like. Louie Palu can answer that question in his film Kandahar Journals. He's here with his co-director, Devin Gallagher, to talk about the film and their Kickstarter campaign. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
My pleasure. All right, so from 2006 to 2010, you were in Afghanistan, Louie, covering the war. What was that experience like?
Well, when I got there in 2006, I just really didn't understand what I was getting into. Then I arrived and the Taliban had come back and the war started rising in violence, and Iraq was going on. So a lot of people weren't really paying attention to what was going on in Afghanistan. And while I was watching it, I realized I needed to document what was going on for history, actually, for the news, what was going on.
Right, yeah, and I mean, I too remember that time, especially after 9/11, we were so focused on Iraq, and then suddenly it was like, okay, now we're focused on Afghanistan. What made you decide to make a film about your experience and what, like you just said?
Yeah. Well, what ended up happening is the media kind of, in many ways, left Afghanistan and went to cover Iraq and a lot of other things. It became, actually quoting the president at the time, President Bush, the forgotten war. And it very much was the forgotten war. I remember covering daily combat and trying to call big news outlets, and they weren't interested. And I just felt like the TV pool had kind of stopped covering the combat and the fighting, and it was intense every day. So I picked up a video camera and I started shooting it, and with not really any intention more than shooting some shorts for online news organizations. But as I shot a lot, you know, I'd met Devin here at AIM, and we started talking about what this could become. But the project didn't really start till maybe a year or two after I'd finished covering the war.
Okay. And Devin, what attracted you to the material?
Well, actually, I met Louie in an editing class here at Arlington Independent Media. I was teaching, and he would, you know, I think 2 years in a row, he would bring back footage from his tour and say, look at this, look at this. And it was pretty amazing footage to look at, just a couple of pretty extreme firefights that I saw. And it wasn't until I had kind of finished up with a project that we were talking, and we said, you know, what if we just try something? It was kind of an experimental thing at first. He gave me a bunch of footage, and it was just going back and forth, sitting in the editing room and seeing what the footage can become.
So this was kind of an ongoing, so you're saying that you were still over in Afghanistan, coming back, taking classes, and this was, wow, that's incredible. So guys, right now you guys are kind of focused on getting the film finished, and frankly my question would be, why should anyone care? Why should anyone support your film?
Well, I think that this being the longest foreign war in American history is prime reason. Everybody, whether they went to the war, has someone related to them that was in the war, or simply is just a taxpayer who paid money into the government which launched and conducted this war, has an interest in what happened in this war. I think that there have been a lot of films made about Afghanistan, but the first-hand voice of a photographer on the front lines telling that story in probably the most key and unknown region, which is Kandahar in the country, does not exist. So I think that there's a unique window into the war that hasn't been shown yet.
Wow.
I think I would agree with that. I mean, especially given the amount of time that Louie has spent. A lot of people, when I meet them and say I'm working on a, you know, Afghanistan documentary, and like, did you go to Afghanistan? I was like, no, but my friend here did for many years. And so he's, the body of work that he has in the retrospective, that, and through his eyes, that you can kind of get a glimpse as to what it was like to kind of see that.
And we made it very, you know, we chose to make it very personal, because war is personal, you know. War isn't just a foreign policy, you know, launched by a government or a politician. War is very personal because the people on the other end of that policy have to enact that policy, whether it's a soldier or the civilians or whoever it is, or the victims, the other side. So I think that the fact that it's a personal story from my actual written journals and my journal-style video makes it a very, very unique, personal, and honest and truthful view of what the war really looked like.
And I also think what we're going to try and incorporate is kind of a higher level context. So we interviewed a number of experts and journalists that will be able to give context to Louie's kind of on-the-ground experience.
Yeah. Well, you know, I've been fortunate enough to see a little bit of the film from you guys, and it definitely does look interesting. And I think that what you just said is absolutely correct. Just that firsthand experience from a photojournalist is very intriguing. So, guys, how can people get involved and support the film?
Well, you can definitely go check out Kickstarter, search for Kandahar Journals, or just look on Facebook for Kandahar Journals. We're the only hit. So help us out, give us whatever you can contribute, or spread the word on social media, because we really need this Kickstarter money in order to shape some sort of rough cut. We're in the post-production process, and we really just to get to that next level and to create the standard that we want this documentary to be. We really need this Kickstarter campaign to be successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, in a nutshell, I shot there over a course of 5 years. Devin and I have put in all our own money over the course of 3 years to develop the film to the point where we can start editing. And what we're looking for is money to take it to that next stage, that next level, like Devin said. And you can look up Kandahar Journals. You can look up myself, Louie Palu, on Twitter, @Louie Palu. There's an Instagram account that I have, @Louie Palu. You just look up Louie Palu and Kandahar Journals, and you can connect all through that.
Okay.
And you can be a part of the film by contributing to the finishing of it if you donate the money to it.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Well, excellent, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by to talk with me. And Louie, you know, thank you for going out there on the front lines with our soldiers, just to actually record this, because I do think, like you said, it's very important for generations now and for generations to come to actually see what happened in our history. So thank you.
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.